Let's talk about the true cost of being an Alabamian. Well, number one, the home prices here have risen 15.4% compared to last year.
I think this economy has been really shaken up here, and the whole United States really. Things have changed pretty drastically. So in today's video, we're gonna do a real updated version of the cost of living in Lower Alabama.
Welcome everyone, my name is Jess and this is my partner Tony. If you're new to our channel, we talk about everything there is to know about living in LA.
AKA Lower Alabama.
So if you haven't subscribed yet, you're gonna wanna do that right now. And while you're there, please hit that like button because there's gonna be some really great information in this video. Since we moved down here again, life has been a little bit stressful. Getting our business up and running to pay bills, getting the kids acclimated to their new schools, and just life in general has been a little bit crazy. But we're finally situated down here in Lower Alabama, and that's the purpose of this video today.
We're licensed realtors here in the state of Alabama, and as much as we like giving you the rundown, we'd love to help you with your real estate needs just a little bit more. But without further ado, let's dive right into this video. This video is going to teach you whether it's a good idea for you to get your ass down here to Alabama, or maybe it's not for you. But today we're going to talk about all the pros and cons and the true cost of moving down or up to LA, wherever you're coming from. And if you stick around to the end, we're going to talk about how complicated moving here might be.
Now, what are some of the top reasons people are moving to Alabama? Number one is going to be money. It's probably the most important factor for just about everyone. So in LA, you have very little property tax. It's a total game changer down here. People across the country pay thousands and thousands of dollars each year on their property taxes, and it's a huge burden that we don't have down here in Lower Alabama. Plus, there are some great exemptions available for those who qualify.
So in Alabama, just like Texas or Illinois and a few other states, if you're a 100% disabled veteran, you're tax exempt when it comes to property taxes on your home. Just yesterday, we helped a Coast Guard veteran move up here from Clearwater, and he actually didn't know this about Alabama. So we made sure he knew what to do exactly after he bought his home, because his property taxes were in the high 2s, but he also bought a really nice property along the coast, so it, differs.
So even if you don't qualify for exemptions, property taxes can easily be less than $1,000 per year. Even on a large home that's valued for more than $500,000, taxes can hover around that $1,000 a year range. It's probably the number one thing I hear all of our clients rave about, how their taxes were so much higher where they came from, and now they can afford that vacation they wanted or save for their kids' school tuition. The extra money you save just by living here is huge.
And another reason why people are moving down here to Alabama is because it's a red state. A red state means voters here primarily elect Republican candidates. Now let's dive into that a little bit deeper. Just from the top of my head, I can tell you that the South and the Sun Belt in general are growing tremendously, while the North and the Midwest are shrinking. Also, red states outperform blue states in economic growth, and they usually have lower taxes like we mentioned and have smaller governments. But if you don't want to take my word for it, just read the US Census Bureau and Labor Department reports.
And if you're not used to seeing people walking with a gun on the side of their hip or a Trump flag flying on the front of their house, their truck, or their boat, then this might not be the place for you. Alabama allows open carry without a permit to anyone over the age of 18 as long as they're legally allowed.
And speaking of carrying, I know that this is a reciprocal state for a lot of concealed carry holders, so definitely check that out if you already have your concealed carry license. One of the other contributing factors that people are moving out of these larger cities is because there's been so much violence and just quality of life has really diminished a lot over the years of some of these places around the country. So if they're relocating, why not relocate to somewhere that hasn't really experienced any of that? So a lot of people are choosing Alabama, and especially a few cities in Alabama, and I'll get to that in just a second, because quality of life here is through the roof. I mean, you could just step outside and have a full day worth of fun without having to spend any money. It's crazy.
Crazy, 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 crazy.
Yes, I'm going to speak on this as well, because one of the main things I realized for us was there was no point in having to be stuck in Illinois. Everyone needs to buy a home in every single state, and the work at home revolution has made everyone just kind of start to scratch their heads and think like, do I really need to be working from a cold state where it's freezing and those winters are miserable, somewhere where I'm paying so much money to live when it's not even necessary? People aren't just moving out of big cities and going to the suburbs. People are moving from state to state, especially right now. We experienced it ourselves when we came down here to Lower Alabama. We were shocked when we learned how long our wait list was to get that U-Haul truck. Do you remember that? We're talking months.
Now, personally, one of the main reasons we chose to come back to Lower Alabama is because of the weather, especially down here in South Alabama. The weather here is pretty much gorgeous all year round. The worst time of the year is the weather is actually the same everywhere in the country, and it's the winters because you're missing out on those sunny days and we can't go out and do anything. But in the summer, that's when it's the best time to be down here, and that's when most people actually come down to LA who own homes or second homes or vacation homes, because they want to experience all the beach towns, work on those tans, and get some vitamin D on their body that they've just been lacking out on all year.
That's right. So while everything is slower paced and everyone's laid back, you still have everything going on here in LA. It's a super desirable area, and we are seeing a major influx of people relocating, which does mean that real estate prices here have increased, and they will definitely continue to go up. But the good news is that it's still highly affordable compared to other states, mainly because of our low property taxes.
One of the other reasons that a lot of people overlook is the culture. The culture that Alabama has to offer is like no other that I've ever experienced anywhere. I mean, Louisiana and Texas probably are close second and third, but Alabama has this southern culture where you just can be outdoors all the time with the kids. You don't have to be stuck on your computer or your Xbox or your tablets all year round. And they're not just 6 to 9 months out of the year, you know, where you're just stuck inside the house. You're not paying expensive gym memberships, so you can actually go out and enjoy life, you know, with not having been cold, stuck inside all winter, which seems like an eternity.
Yeah, you can just step outside your house and find fun activities all year round. You guys can go to the beach every single day. You can go to the pool. You guys can go to free events down here. There's so many cities that offer like fun things to do for the families and the kids. You never have to spend a dollar. They have so many parties and Mardi Gras parades for residents, so it's just really incredible, and you're saving money right there. Up north, we were dishing out money for indoor entertainment during our long winter months. And these things weren't cheap either, like one whole paycheck practically to spend one night in an indoor water park, or driving distance to get to a body water, which was a huge expensive production that always ended up being more work and more money than enjoyment.
It adds up really quick, and there's just about everything you would ever want to do, you can do here. Yesterday I was paddleboarding, and while we were out we saw dolphins right next to us. Like, where do you get that at? That's something you have to spend thousands of dollars on at a resort, but nope, we can do it here, and you don't have to be at home sitting on the couch, and it just feels different. I mean, you just wake up and you can run to the beach, you could start your day like that, you could end your day like that. It's just wonderful. I mean, I've been fishing with my buddies already. I think we've been fishing about 4 or 5 times this summer and frogging, and it's something that I've always wanted to do for a long time. And I don't mean just regular fishing either. I mean Gulf Coast saltwater fishing. It's so much fun. You take your friends, your family, you go on a fishing boat, you go all the way out there, and it's on the Gulf of Mexico. You have all these rivers and canals and ponds and bays nearby. I mean, you have everything to choose from. It's great.
All right, so let's talk about some of the cities that you should be looking at. As far as where are the best cities to live, statistically, Foley and Daphne have the highest migration rates right now, and rightfully so, because they're great cities with an economic growth that's continuing to grow, and they're both in super close proximity to Gulf Shores and Orange Beach. They're also in Baldwin County, which has an amazing public school system.
Right, so you have those beautiful Gulf Coast cities just mentioned, Orange Beach and Gulf Shores, which have great schools, by the way, and they have a lot of things going for them that people are looking for. So if I were you, I would definitely check those cities out. I know we did, but I wanted to be centrally located in between Mobile and the Gulf Coast because we work with people from all over LA or Lower Alabama. And personally, I wanted to be in an area which is a little more central to all the major hubs in our line of work, which is Mobile and Baldwin County.
So we chose to live in Fairhope, and it's definitely one of those cities that you guys should be looking at. Fairhope is experiencing major growth. We actually visited Fairhope for the first time about 7 years ago, and after seeing it, we were like, wow, this place is like a fairy tale. Everywhere you walk, it's like a picture in a movie. And the redevelopment they're doing down here is crazy. There's so much money being spent right now in Fairhope. Schools are 10 out of 10. The city is just pristine, and the houses are so stunning. There's no wrong place to live in Fairhope, and residents take so much pride in living here. It really feels like a privilege to be part of this beautiful city and this amazing community.
It is a privilege. But next is the Spanish Fort area, which has really been up and coming for years too. We definitely spend a good amount of time around there visiting their shopping mall, the Eastern Shore Center, and the bowling alley that's right behind it.
Are you not going to mention Lowe's? I swear he has a VIP card there.
How could I forget? But if I were you, I definitely would check out Fairhope or Spanish Fort. Personally, if we didn't have kids, I'd check out Mobile. The schools aren't highly rated like the towns we just mentioned, but there's some really great private schools and pockets where you'll find really good public schools too. But overall, there's just so much to do. The culture and diversity there is like no other, and their downtown area is booming with local stores and restaurants. Or if you don't have kids, then being close to the universities and everything else that comes with Mobile would be a great fit. And it's huge in size, so you really have everything at your fingertips. But it is a bigger city compared to everything we just mentioned, so it is affordable in most spots. So with more people means more traffic, so you're definitely gonna have to be ready for that.
I'm ready.
If you're going from one end of Mobile to the other, trying to cross the Bayway or the Causeway, just
yeah,
be
don't
ready.
get me started on bridge traffic.
Crossing that bridge isn't that bad, especially if you compare it to the traffic in a metro area where it's like that almost every day, all day. But Mobile is going to have some higher crime rates, but there's plenty of really good areas too, so you guys should definitely check out our other videos about living in Mobile.
Next on the list is SARALAND, which is located in North Mobile County. SARALAND is like a perfect small town. It's super quiet and quaint, but it's growing big time. It can be considered a little pricey, but nothing more than the other cities we've named. It just doesn't offer as much as the other areas do. But if you're looking for a very nice community with a small town feel and excellent schools for your kids, then this might be everything you can ask for. And you're just minutes away from Mobile and also their airport, so that's super convenient. Now, the only problem with SARALAND for me was that it's still part of Mobile, which Mobile I love, believe me. If I was single, I'd be a little bit more comfortable living in Mobile. If I didn't have kids, I'd live there. But Mobile has a lot of congestion, and there's kind of some rude people. Not everyone. I'm not going to talk in generalities, but I have encountered people that can be rude, and then there is a bit of a higher crime rate. I mean, you can literally go a few blocks outside of SARALAND, you could probably experience some pretty high crime rates and some homelessness. So there are some issues going on in Mobile. It's no secret. Nowhere's perfect, and we're just being transparent and honest with you guys, so please don't be upset.
And not only that, but it's a totally different feeling since this whole pandemic. There's people wearing masks on the street. There's people wearing masks while they're working out. You can't even step outside your house without seeing people wear these masks all the time. I see people wearing them in buildings and cars.
While they're driving.
It's just crazy, I don't know. It just feels like it's too much, but we do have a lot of clients moving to Mobile after all. It is the third largest city in Alabama and the birthplace of Mardi Gras, which is also, worth mentioning.
Yeah, so that actually came as a shock to me at first. I was like, wait, isn't New Orleans the home of Mardi Gras? And oh my God, let me tell you, those are fighting words here. They take their Mardi Gras very seriously. They shut down workplaces, streets for parades, and everyone gets all decked out, which is just absolutely beautiful. And their Mardi Gras balls are just stunning. You'll see the women in these like big 18th century ball dresses that are just mind-blowing. And they're typically very formal parties hosted by a specific club for their members, so you have to be invited. Now, that's not always the case, but that's where you'll see some of these party goers getting really done up. Another festival I saw happening downtown was the LGBTQ event, and it had pride flags on buildings and vibrant colors, and everyone was really supportive and people were pretty friendly there.
And I love the history that Mobile has in general. We went on a tour once downtown and went through this like huge French colonial style home, and in the backyard there was a very, very small cemetery, which was pretty creepy. But it's also cool at the same time because back in that time, that was normal. But today you don't see stuff like that. So that's just one place of history in this big city. You'll definitely be able to find more, or if you already know of some cool facts, please drop them down in the comments below. Let us know.
Yeah, so speaking of French colonials, when we were looking at moving back, I was specifically looking for a French colonial for us just because they're so beautiful and majestic. And we actually found one located in this community called Savannah Square in the Rock Creek subdivision, which is a golf course community in Fairhope, but we actually didn't decide to get it. It would have been a big pain in the ass because the layout wasn't functional for our growing family and all of the guests that we have. And we actually go through this with home buyers all the time. So if you switch it up halfway through your search, no big deal. You're not alone. Realtors do it just as much.
And since you brought up Fairhope again, I do want to mention that a lot of people will probably think of it or picture it as being more of like a retirement town. But to be honest with you, a lot of areas in Alabama are retirement towns with the exception of Mobile. And I mean, a lot of the retirees are there too, but more and more families are really moving in, especially younger families are moving to Fairhope. And the reason why we decided it was the right fit for us is because of all the families flooding in the area and their highly rated school system. And as I mentioned before, we relocated right in the middle of where our clients are. So I'm right dead smack in the middle, and we're close to Pensacola and Biloxi and New Orleans, so it was really an easy decision for us. It's definitely a perk being in the center of our clients and our business partners. So for me, it was a perfect fit, a no-brainer. The schools are top-notch, the beaches are beautiful, quality of life is just crazy good. Crime pretty much is non-existent, but always be diligent and aware of your surroundings no matter where you are. I like being around all the major stores, but not too close to. So this town definitely has growth, and there's a lot of money here. A lot of people, a lot of wealthy people have moved down here because of the golf courses and the quality of life. Just everything is exceptional here. So that's why I decided to, relocate to Fairhope.
And if you're looking to purchase a home down in Lower Alabama, this might be the right place for you. And if that's the case, well, I know a great realtor down here, right, Tony? Mm-hmm. So if you guys are looking for a house, make sure you reach out to us. And you can actually check out some homes right now before you even make the move. We've helped so many of our clients purchase a home virtually, where we actually walk you through the property and answer any questions you guys may have. So while we're on the topic of moving to Alabama, let's talk about the true cost of being an Alabamian. Well, number one, the home prices here have risen 15.4% compared to last year, selling for a median price of $375,000. Now, this is pretty much on par with the national average of what a home costs, but it's still a bargain compared to all the other major cities. I mean, if you're coming down here from New York or Jersey or California and you're buying a house for $250,000, man, that's a steal, because in Northern Jersey or New York or Cali or Boston, some of these northern or even big states and these big cities, you're paying a ton of money to live somewhere. Not going to give you such a good quality of life. You're not going to get space, and you're going to be just stuck with something really small for a really big price. Over here, $250,000 will get you a nice home. Now, there are some hidden costs like hurricane coverage if you're close to the water. Obviously, the price of everything has gone up the past couple of years, and now that home prices continue to rise, you may want to act fast before they continue to go even more higher.
The other thing that a lot of people don't take in consideration when moving to subdivisions are that we have HOAs, or POAs as we call them down here, and that comes with association dues. And here what you'll notice is that they don't have just one set of dues. They could have two sets of dues and even maybe a mandatory club fee. So a club fee is, let's just say, for instance, there's a golf course community. They could mandate that you become a member of the golf course, which could be an expense that is more than you're looking to spend a year, for that property. And I know they can be pretty pricey. And not only that, but then you have your everyday living expenses with an average sales tax here at around 9 to 10%. So you want to make sure you understand, because the taxes may be $1,000, which is insane because I paid $1,000 a month, let alone a year, and that's absolutely just phenomenal. Now, there are tons of homes outside of HOAs and POAs, so that's an expense that could be avoided if you know where to look.
Next thing we want to talk about is insurance. Now, Tony just mentioned this, but as you may know, Alabama gets a lot of hurricanes and we get some pretty intense storms very regularly. We've been pretty lucky this year so far, but your insurance will be more expensive down here, no doubt. Maybe your auto insurance might go down depending on what part of the country you're coming from, but your homeowner's insurance will be going up a little, definitely a bit higher than what you normally see.
Now let's talk some savings for your move down here to Alabama. Are you going to be saving any money? That's important too. Besides the cost of a home, or besides maybe lowering your auto insurance, is there any real savings? Well, yes, there is. Remember, in Alabama, you got so many free activities. You got so many things to do outdoors. There's so many things you can do with your family or just meeting other people. I mean, it's just very inexpensive here, guys. There's so many free activities, I can't say it enough. And then if you want to do some other activities, it's at a very low cost.
There's a lot of things that you can do that won't break the bank. I've had fun here, guys, and I really haven't gone crazy. You can find deals on Groupon. We found a fishing trip where they take you out in the bay. You got to go fishing. I think it was like $60 per person, and they provided all the tackle and the bait, and it was just awesome. You can do so many other things like that. You can go jet skiing, renting boats. You can do a lot of different things out here, guys. Believe me, we couldn't do any of this back in Illinois, especially not all year round.
No. And another thing is that you don't have to worry about large heating bills. So there's no big gas bills to heat your home. There's no large propane costs to heat your house. You don't have to worry about any of that besides what you use in our mild winter months for cooking. And if you have to turn on the heat, it won't be much. Now, you do have air conditioning that's on year round. But I found that if you just keep your air conditioning on a moderate level and you keep the fans on, it does a really good job. But it's all gonna defer depending on what you find comfortable. I keep the curtains closed to help out with the heating bill, and our mature trees do help too.
Next you have, like I mentioned before, the property taxes. Property taxes down here, guys, are so low. It's ridiculous compared to many other states. But not only that, then you also have homestead exemptions, which basically lowers your taxes even further. You just have to apply for that and then you get it, no problem. And one other thing for me is that you just have a little bit more freedom here. You don't feel so restrained. You just feel like there's, you wake up in the morning and you're excited to start the day. And I know that has nothing to do with savings, but I just wanted to throw that in there before I forget. It just feels so different here. So imagine when you're on vacation, how you feel. That's how you wake up every single day here. I can't make this up, guys. It is just a different world.
That's a good way of looking at it. But now there are some downsides to it too. And we'll talk about some of those complications that you may have if you decide to move down to Alabama. Some complications might be, first of all, the competitiveness in the market. So if you're looking to come down here and buy, well, you have some obstacles because there's a lot of people buying right now. Homes are selling on the first day on the market for above asking price, just like they are in most other places in the country. But I tell you what, it's going to definitely pay off. If you get yourself a property here in Alabama now, when the migration works its way through, your home is going to be worth a lot more money. Let me just give you an example, guys. We had a property under contract for $275 down here, and the buyers decided not to move forward with that property. Now, that same property sold for $335 just 1 month later. It's insane. It's crazy. The way things are down here, it is.
Right.
It's a little nuts.
So the other thing you're gonna have to think about too is the moving process. Like we mentioned earlier, U-Haul trucks are scarce right now coming from the north. It's probably the same way in California or on the East Coast. We had a 3-month wait list for our U-Haul truck.
And I didn't know that. I called the day before for a U-Haul truck, and the guy was trying to hold back his laughter, and he said, "We've been sold out of trucks for the last 3 months." So what did I do? I had to drive 2 hours up north into Wisconsin to get a U-Haul and bring it down here. And that's something that you just don't want to do. I wouldn't wish it on anyone else because it was so stressful. And hopefully you guys are planning your trip a little better than I did. So if you're looking to move, make sure you reserve your truck way ahead of time. And I know it's a balancing act when you're trying to move and there are so many things going on, but let me tell you, don't wait till the last minute like I did, and make sure you get it ahead of time.
Yeah, plan in advance. And the last thing is, should you buy or should you rent? Well, that's a great question. In our opinion, there is no wrong answer to that. If you buy, obviously you're gonna be building wealth from day one. If you rent, that's okay too, because you're renting for maybe say a year or two, and that's just gonna allow you to take the time to kind of come down here and figure out where you really want to be, figure out what you can really afford, and figure out how business is going for you. Then at least you can buy with some ease and comfort and not feel rushed. You know, there doesn't need to be a timeline for everything. Take your time, and make sure you're making the right decisions. So that's just my opinion, and hopefully y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And as always, guys, if you're interested in working with us in one capacity or another, we're just a phone call, text message, or email away.
And don't forget to check out our other videos. We love showing y'all what life is like down here in LA. So
thanks for watching. We'll see y'all in the next video.
see you guys.